And now let's return to that breaking news just coming into us as we speak. And it's being reported that Donald Trump has told his inner circle that Elon Musk will be stepping down from duties in the coming weeks. Now, Mr. Musk, who of course has led the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, will step down soon, according to reports. And these reports follow several weeks of tension between the Tesla billionaire and other top appointees to Donald Trump's White House inner sanctum. Now, it's understood that one senior administration official told Politico that Musk will retain an informal role as an advisor after quitting the cabinet. Well, let's get back to the studio now for some reaction. I speak with GBNews' political editor Chris Hope and also GBNews' senior political commentator Nigel Nelson. Chris Hope, wow, on Liberation Day, could Elon Musk be liberated from Team Trump? A lot of people said this could be a short-lived bromance, two massive egos, two huge personalities, but people thought it might have lasted a bit longer than this, if it's true.
If true, waiting for confirmation from, sure, we're looking at Truth Social, Donald Trump's own feed for when he makes announcements. Now, this idea, DOGE, this Department of Government Efficiency, was meant to last until the 4th of July 2026, the 250th anniversary of the founding of the Republic. To end it now, after 3 months, is unexpected, let's say the least, or less than 3 months, but maybe as little, 2 months maybe. So a big surprise here. Now, there's reports yesterday, Donald Trump telling people that he felt that a lot of people were working with DOGE. This is Trump's telling reporters they are secretaries, heads of agencies. They've learned a lot, implying maybe that the job is done. But the idea of DOGE, I think, was trying to take a scalpel to the government spending, and US aid being ended almost immediately around the world. A big pressure, I think, on his own money with Elon Musk. He's seen pressure on Tesla. He has said, I think, the reports that there are two elements of making a Tesla that come from China. Yep. Without those, they can't build it. Can they be let off? So there's maybe the point at which he pulls back and says, I must look after the knitting, which is his own business. There were lots of pressure points talked about from the beginning. An initial one was that Elon Musk was very outspoken about allowing super skilled immigrants into the United States on fast entry visas, because, of course, a lot of those super skilled immigrants are gifted mathematicians, would have been beneficial to Tesla and Musk himself, and that went against the government. The second one was on tariffs, because, of course, Donald Trump was very outspoken about there should be no more protectionist tariffs on electric vehicles. Ooh, Tesla, the biggest electric vehicle company in America. But this point on tariffs, you're dead right, Chris Hope, because these tariffs, even though they're American manufactured vehicles, as you say, components from all over the world, do you think Elon Musk may have been fishing for an exemption? And Donald Trump was like, well, basically, nobody gets away out of jail that easily. No exemptions, and bang, the bromance is over. Well, the sourcing here is to Politico, the US website, saying here that three White House insiders say that while pleased with Musk's work so far, he's told his team that this guy, Elon Musk, will be stepping back from a position in the coming weeks. The Trump aides reportedly have been concerned about the billionaire's unpredictability and begun to see him as more of a liability. And, of course, Musk would refute that. And, in fact, Musk may say he's been brought in to be this kind of chaos merchant, the chainsaw-wielding cutter of government spending. And we're feeling that in this country here, aren't we, too? There's websites set up called UK DOGE, looking at government spending, which has been questioned and almost has supported this Labour government's position to cut the aid budget. And there does seem to be something of an oxymoron, perhaps a bitter irony, of the Trump regime calling Musk unpredictable. I mean, the entire machine is unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen at 9 o'clock tonight. We don't know, but there has been a fallout, I think, for Elon Musk vehicles, when at one point, I think last week or the week before last, we saw Trump saying, I'm bought a Tesla, almost supporting buying this vehicle. But again, it relies on some elements made in China, so there'll be some shareholders of Musk who may feel it's better to withdraw than stay alongside this unpredictable US president.
This video is sponsored by Saily. Saily is a brand new eSIM service app. What it does is get you a local SIM card that you can use when you're traveling, so you don't have to pay those crazy roaming fees just to send a text back home. They've got eSIM plans in over 160 countries and 8 regions, so pretty much wherever you're going, they'll be able to make sure you're connected. So how does it work? Well, all you've got to do is hit our link in the description to download the app. It will work on iOS or Android. Buy a plan, you can choose the best time frame for you, and then just install the eSIM on your phone. When you land at your holiday destination, you can activate your plan instantly. Saily eSIMs only ever have to be installed once, so when you go on your next trip, you just buy a plan for a new country, turn that eSIM back on, and just like that, you could be watching the GB News YouTube channel. You can be connected anywhere you go, and you don't have to deal with patchy Wi-Fi in your hotels. So get sorted for your next trip by downloading Saily using the link in the description below, and if you use our code NEWS at checkout, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on us.
But Nigel Nelson, before I come to you, I need to cross now to Laurie Laird. Laurie, political commentator, joins us. Laurie, a lot of people said it was perhaps an unlikely bromance. A lot of people said it'd be a bromance that might not last very long, but by Jove, we expect it to last longer than 3 months.
Okay, I didn't. My first thought is, what took them so long? These guys are two cats in a bag. This was never going to be a long-term relationship. But I do think that they both need each other quite a bit. I don't think this will be a falling out. This will not be, we've seen a number of Donald Trump figures in the first administration who have come out and said, look, Donald Trump is dangerous. John Bolton, his ex-national security advisor. I don't think Elon Musk will be one of those. He needs regulation to go his way with so many of his businesses, right? The government is the biggest customer for Starlink, his internet business, for SpaceX, his rocket business. He needs that. Donald Trump needs Elon Musk to keep throwing him money at some of these weird electoral contests. In Wisconsin last night, there was an election for a Supreme Court judge, right? This is not usually big stuff. $100 million spent on that election, and Elon Musk is willing to spring for that. So they both need each other.
And I wonder, Laurie Laird, if a lot of this is down to, just that avaricious, dirty thing called money. I mean, I remember well on Inauguration Day, Donald Trump, the row behind him, it was just a gaggle of tech billionaires. Tech billionaires, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and the rest of them. All of those companies have seen billions of dollars wiped off their value since Donald Trump got into power because of tariffs, because of uncertainty. Perhaps also Elon Musk was getting frustrated at the sheer volatility of corporate America.
I mean, this is a real tricky one because Donald Trump's, and you were so right to point out the variability of policy, the pots, kettles, that sort of thing. But all of American business is hurting right now because we simply don't know what the economic strategy is. Trump says he wants to bring jobs back, factories back to the U.S. These are billion-dollar investments. They take years to build. When you think policy may change from week to week, you're not really encouraged to put a lot of money into things. But I wonder if there's been a lot of talk about Tesla shares being killed, and they have been killed, down about a third since the end of last year. Whether that's Elon Musk's questionable policies or whether that's because Tesla is not making as good a product as it was a couple of years ago, that is open to question. I mean, Tesla sales in the UK in February were up 20% year on year. The UK is one place where Elon Musk has not been popular. So the downturn in Tesla shares may be because Musk is an eccentric. It may be because his product isn't as exclusive as it used to be.
OK, Laurie Laird, thank you very much for being available at short notice to comment and giving us your expertise. Thank you very much. Nigel Nelson waiting very patiently to comment on this. And again, you're probably not surprised by the fact this bromance has gone down the toilet, or has gone up in smoke faster than one of Elon Musk's exploded SpaceX craft.
Absolutely. I mean, if these reports turn out to be true, it wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Laurie just mentioned John Bolton, Donald Trump's former national security advisor, who knows Donald Trump really well. And he predicted only a couple of days ago that Musk wouldn't last the summer. It looks like it might have actually happened earlier than his prediction. And for the reasons that you say, that you can't have these two giant egos in the White House. The White House has only room for one giant ego, and that's the president. The other thing to bear in mind, I think, is that big business and government really don't mix. That is the reason why in this country, the cabinet, if they've got business interests, they have to go into a blind trust while our politicians are cabinet ministers. If you end up with somebody who's running a business and being in government, there's bound to be conflicts of interest there.
Chris Hope, all eyes now on 9 p.m. tonight, and the volatility, the unpredictability of that moment has now been brought into huge highlight. I mean, if one of the inner sanctum, Elon Musk, isn't safe, what is?
Well, the big risk tonight is no one knows what's going to happen. When I last looked, all the indices of the FTSE 100 were down, all the London stock market. They're down in America on trading. There's big concern here. And when shares fall in America, that hits voters. Lots of Americans have shares in their pensions. They're very well, much more stock market savvy than UK investors and savers are. They'll see that, well, hang on, Donald Trump, we voted for you, but this is what you want. I mean, he's having to reshore lots of workers. That takes a long time. We heard yesterday, didn't we, on your programme from the White House spokesman, if you make stuff here, there are no tariffs, but there'll be a big issue, I think. But how that plays out, though, and what it means for, say, UK exports of minis and other vehicles to America, what's that mean, and how much will those cars be worth in America? Will that have a fallout on UK jobs? Maybe minis might come to this country more and bring the price down of UK-made vehicles. It's not quite clear how it affects our listeners and viewers yet.
Well, Chris Hope, that's an excellent segue into my next guest, because we're going to now speak with the Sales and Marketing Director, Douglas Lang, which is an independent bottler of Scotch whisky, and Scott MacDonald, ahead of tonight's expected tariff announcement. Welcome to the show. Of course, Scotch whisky is a hugely lucrative export from the United Kingdom, from Scotland to America, around about 971 million quid's worth a year, at the thick end of £1 billion worth, a superb export. And we just heard here about the Elon Musk announcement. Unpredictability is the name of the game. What are you bracing yourself for tonight at 9 o'clock?
Well, we don't know, and that's part of the problem, really. Uncertainty is not good for anyone. Makes it very hard for business to plan, industries to plan. So really, we're sitting tight and hoping that that 9 o'clock comes and goes, and the news isn't too bad.
And is there something in? I spoke to Lance Foreman in the previous hour. He exports high-end smoked salmon to Scotland. It's his biggest export market. He's hoping that the premium, that the excellence of his product will mean that tariffs don't bite too hard. Are you hoping also that the sheer quality of the output of your product and of Scotch whisky will mean that people will still pay that premium?
Well, of course we are. I mean, I think we need to control the controllables. So once we know what the details of the announcement tonight, we can make plans to address that, to look at marketing plans, etc. Unfortunately, history tells us, and just recent history, 2019, tells us that when tariffs are applied, the Scotch whisky industry is impacted in a large scale.
And do you think that the government should step in? I mean, Ed Davey stood alone, the Liberal Democrat leader in Parliament today. He was saying there should be reciprocal tariffs. There should be a trade war with America. Or do you think for now that the correct route is the route of Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch? Wait and see, suck it and see, and hope things work out?
Not hoping things work out. I think we need to see the details of the announcement, and then I think we need to cut our cloth accordingly and review our plans accordingly. The Scotch whisky industry is a very resilient industry, and we've dealt with challenges such as this in the past, and we will deal with challenges such as this now and in the future. But I'd much prefer to hear the detail first before I make any assumptions to what people should and shouldn't do.
OK, well, Scott McDonald, I wish you the very, very best, and hopefully you'll be raising a glass later on tonight. Excellent product, very, very best of British to you. A fantastically important part of our export business. £1 billion worth almost, Chris Hope, of Scotch whisky goes to America. These are big numbers, big impact, very, very important to the British economy. And what Scott McDonald was saying there, nobody knows what's coming at 9 o'clock.
And yet those who buy Scotch whisky, and maybe those who buy high-end cars, are people who may not be dissuaded by an increase of maybe a fifth on the cost of that Scotch. I mean, a fifth is a lot of money. You know, a £10 bottle of Scotch is £12 suddenly overnight. And maybe people...
Well, you get Scotch for £10.
Well, or even if it's 50
Let me know.
If it's £100, it's £120. But people who buy it maybe don't feel that pinch.
Yeah.
So maybe the luxury nature of our exports to America particularly could mean we're not that badly hurt. We're not really at the lower end of that economy. That could help us.
And Nigel Nelson, do you think for now, Sir Keir Starmer's line, Kemi Badenoch's line, the best approach is simply to do nothing?
Yes, I certainly do. I think that what we've heard from people you've interviewed, each one has been saying they're preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. We don't know how bad it's going to be until 9 o'clock tonight. But even after that, I think that we've got a trade deal in the offing, or so we're told anyway. We must let that run its course, and in the event we don't get that deal, that's when you should think about reciprocal tariffs.
OK, thank you very much, Chris Hope. Nigel Nelson.